Joey Aguilar, the quarterback that went to UCLA after setting records in Boone, North Carolina at Appalachian State, decided to look around, make one phone call, and Josh Heupel said, come on home. He is now going to Tennessee. Nico Iamaleava is now going to UCLA, and there is a new QB1 leading the charge for the Volunteers in 2025. A veteran quarterback with multiple years of starting experience in a schedule that is very manageable to where we already talked about this. FanDuel decided to move the number down just a slight bit from 9.5 to 8.5. Hopefully you threw some money down beforehand because of that number I think is going to rise, especially now having a veteran quarterback. But overall thoughts just really quickly, what do you make of this moving forward for the Volunteers?
I think with the situation you're in right now, and obviously not getting left at the altar is the wrong word, just like what happened with Nico last week, it's a tough situation. They're kind of the pioneers of this, to lose your quarterback that was your no doubt starter right as spring was wrapping up. I think this is about what the best you could do. Again, I was lucky enough. I was worked ahead at the office today. Got to go back and watch 2 of his games, watch the Georgia Southern and Clemson games. All his throws, I was fired up. You two actually had all the throws just for him. It was easy to go through. I don't think this changes anything for me from what I thought last week of Tennessee's quarterback situation. I don't think it's bad. I just think, and again, it's not their fault unless you're just totally blame them missing on Nico from a personality standpoint from the get-go. But I think just this take right here, it kind of is what it is to me. I mean, not overly mobile. He's played a lot of football. I will give him that. Size, adequate size. Does miss on some deep balls. I think he's okay in the short intermediate. I mean, Clemson was kind of just squatting down on a lot of the plays. Obviously, you had some question marks at App State at the receiver spot, but I think you're going to have those same questions heading into Knoxville. I mean, somebody could step up like we talked about Mike Matthews, but right now we don't know that. You're going to have question marks at the offensive line spot at Tennessee this year. I think it gives them someone else to compete with. I'm not ready to 100% say he wins the job. I think this was kind of hey, he's got 1 year left. At worst, he plays. He starts for us this year. We got our guy for the future heading into next year, whether that's little George McIntyre, or the kid they have, Faison Brandon in the 26 class that they have committed to move on to the future. So it's a good stopgap bridge player no matter how you slice it. He's going to help. Like you said, if he's a good teammate, going to help the starter get ready, Barry. You cover the NFL. That's what a lot of these backups are supposed to do. Maybe it's Merklinger, pushes him to go be his better self. I still feel the exact same way I do last week, though, is how going back and watching, I don't think he really moves the needle to going and beating Alabama or Georgia for them this year. I just don't think that does it for them. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't think Tennessee's going to be bad. And this is a tough situation no one's ever been in. So, again, for everybody thinking there was just locked-in quarterbacks with playoff contenders just willing to walk out their situation, probably not. It wasn't that easy right now to go tamper. Let's call it what it is. I'm sure they reached out to somebody, thought it was Luke Altmaier for a while. Yes, some plans fell through with that. But I think in this situation, Barry, it's the best you could get, but it does not change the ceiling. Probably helps their floor stay a little higher.
I agree with you on the floor. I disagree with the ceiling, but we'll get to that in a minute. ESPN's Pete Thamel officially reports that the deal set is at $1.2 million left at UCLA. He is going to be making significantly less than what Nico Iamaleava was going to be making in Knoxville, but that money, I think, is used to the right course. Over his time when he was at Appalachian State, set records as previously mentioned, over 6,700 passing yards, 56 touchdowns in 2 seasons with the Mountaineers. Before that, he had almost 3,000 passing yards and 21 touchdowns in 2 years at Diablo Valley Community College in Pleasant Hill, California. Very well known for his accuracy. Won Sunbelt Newcomer of the Year in 2023. Led the Mountaineers to a 9-win season that year. So I think there's a lot to like about what you're getting in a guy like Joey Aguilar. Yes, the mobility thing is not there, and that's fine. But I want to counteract something. Yes, there are bigger questions that you have to answer about the long-term status of what this team is. But remind yourself for a second that if everything is as advertised, where you look at the offensive line taking a necessary step forward this upcoming year, whether it be with Zalance Hurd being better or David Sanders being on campus and looking more promising on the right side, that you feel good about the interior, the wide receivers. It's a question right now, but maybe they will be better by the time we get to the regular season, or you just get a guy a few games underneath your belt, and then we're starting to see them hit their stride. The way that we watched a guy like Jalen Hyatt, or a Brew McCoy, or a Dante Thornton, where you could throw in a Cedric Tillman for when he was fully healthy. And
I just don't think we have those guys on the roster.
But maybe you do, and maybe you don't. We don't know right now. But again, we don't.
No, they don't have a Jalen Hyatt.
I think that Mike Matthews can still be that guy. I think that Chris Brazzell can still be pretty consistent. If you're telling me that I can get quality play in terms of accuracy, clean shots, and moving the sticks, and I have a 3-man roster at the running back room, so Star Thomas being one of my dudes, Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis adding in value as secondary options, or one taking on over that role, and my defense is good, I think 9 wins is still possible.
But I'm going to say this, Bear, to counteract. I think all 3 of those spots on offense would all have to play at a really good level. And I think defensively, they would have to be as good as they were last year. I don't think that's possible, and I'm not even going to blame anybody for that. They were really good on defense, a top unit in the league, especially the front 7. I think the problem with Tennessee getting to that 10-win total, I think all that would have to happen. And the chances of all that happening, when you factor in injuries, all those guys taking that next step, developing, turning in to Jalen Hyatt, Brew McCoy, 2020, I don't know if that all happens. I just think odds are stacked against that.
But if it does, 9 wins, I think, is still on the table. I think 9 wins was on the table beforehand, if it was just quality quarterback play. And so what am I getting?
9's the ceiling.
But I think 10's the ceiling. I think 8 is the floor. I believe that the floor has been raised. I think the ceiling is slightly raised because I'm getting a veteran in there. And then again, here's the whole premise of it, Dave. Look at what you have right now when it comes to the overall conversation surrounding Nico. Nico left because of, quote unquote, didn't like the offense, didn't like the way that Josh Heupel was calling things. We know why he left. We know what the main reason was, and we know what was going on behind closed doors. But everyone's now having an opinion on Nico. We were carried last year by our run game. We were carried last year by our defense. And again, they're right. Tennessee had one of the better defenses and one of the best run games in the SEC. One of the best run games in college football. And that got them to a 10-2 record. So what if they have that again, and Joey Aguilar is the exact same quarterback? It's a proof of 2 things. Number 1, Josh Heupel is the right guy for your team. Absolutely, and he's finally getting into a stride. And number 2, it was always the play design and the offensive play personnel and not the quarterback. Because the exact same record with the exact same stats or similar stats to what we saw last year with Nico Iamaleava, who was getting paid and was basically the poster child of college football for NIL, because if he was the first major deal, it's the exact same results with the guy that we're paying significantly less, and he is just fixing and fitting in the system the exact same way.
I mean, if Tennessee's smart, and some of this is true too, whether people want to believe it or not. Yes, some of it was about money for Nico and them, but they did want to add personnel on the offensive side for Tennessee. That was something they were disappointed in, that it wasn't up to par. So that is a concern of mine too. I think 2 things can be true at once. They handled that situation awfully, but again, I think a little bit to your point, but if all that were to happen, if Tennessee's defense is as good as they were last year, or if someone replicates what Dylan Sampson does, I mean, yeah, they could go replicate what they did last year. I just don't think their defense is going to be as good as it was last year, and I don't think Dylan Sampson, the rushing attack's going to – I think it could be solid. I think it's got a good committee. I think they got some good pieces. I just don't think it's going to carry the offense, and I think the offensive line's going to be a little worse. So, I don't know. I just think all the dominoes would have to, fall into place for Tennessee to make the college football playoff right now. I don't think the odds are in that favor.
The dominoes have to fall into place for everything, though, for every team out there. And so I look at their schedule and I say to myself, there is one game that I feel very uncomfortable on the road, and it's Florida, because you always lose at Florida. But you do welcome in.
I had Alabama in that right now, too.
I forgot about Alabama. Fair enough. Okay, so Alabama you can throw in there, too. But you do welcome in Oklahoma. You do welcome in Georgia. You do welcome in Syracuse, who may have a new quarterback with Steve Angeli.
Yeah, I think you got to look at where the Georgia game's located. I think if you had Nico or just an established starter already in the roster, I think that game works into your benefactor, because the game being so early in the season, Georgia's a young team. It's at home. Now you're going to have a quarterback playing his first real team. No disrespect to Syracuse, who I think could be solid this year.
They could.
I think the pendulum swings the opposite way into Georgia's favor now. I think if you had Nico back, I know people don't like him, but again, I don't think he was the only reason why they struggled some offensively. But I would have felt a lot. I actually was leaning towards picking Tennessee in that game. Now, I don't know. Again, I don't feel near as bad. I don't feel like terrible because again, Georgia has their own issues. Again, everybody in the SEC does. But I definitely think Tennessee's going to have to come together now with the quarterback position. Now with the quarterback position being a big mystery. I mean, what if Merklinger wins this job?
But that's the beauty of it too, is that no matter what, in my opinion, you're getting a solid quarterback room. Now, what I'm saying by this is that it may end up being George McIntyre, it may end up being Jake Merklinger, it may end up being Joey Aguilar, and it may be the same way that we talk about Joey Aguilar, the way that we talk about Ty Simpson with Keelan Russell situation. It's a matter of when we're going to see Keelan Russell. That may be it for Jake Merklinger. Like, you may end up seeing one of them. But to me, it gives you stability and it gives you an opportunity to have a really solid quarterback that can still keep your team afloat in a very manageable schedule. That's my thing with this, is that when you look at this overall very much solid Tennessee team, not elite, not great, not special that can win a national championship, but with that schedule, and the way that schedule pans out, you still have an opportunity to be a 9-win team, maybe even a 10-win team if things start to hit at the right time. And
so, Corey, you think this Tennessee team can be better than they were last year?
I think they could be as the exact same. Now, not better.
Yeah, I don't think. Because I lean more defense, and that's just my only depth of what they lost that defensive line. They were good. And again, that's more of a compliment to last year's defense.
I would say that they can be the exact same as last year. Not better. They could easily be worse, but not better. Let's go ahead and grade this move as we like to do, and we're going to do a lot of portal grades tonight. So real quickly, if you haven't already, make sure you like the video, hit the ring notification, subscribe to the channel. Dave, as we always do, elite, all league, winnable plus, winnable minus. Just break this down on what we're actually grading.
Yeah, quickly, guys. For the guys who have not seen our portal grades going back a year now, this is really dumbed down from what Bill Belichick and Nick Saban had from their critical factors. It's a lot of math. I mean, you're pulling out your phone to do the calculator. This is Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning kind of mastered this. Honestly, next year when we do this, Bear, I'm going to add a winnable category, not for this portal sake, but next year, because it keeps getting me. I always want to put somebody as a winnable. But point being, elite speaks for itself, guys. These are the dudes, the Julio Jones, the Patrick Petersons, the Mika Fitzpatricks, the dudes of dudes. Trey Smith, if you're a Tennessee fan, all league. Yeah, I mean, these are LSU examples, guys. Kaylee Avon, Chasen, BJ Ojolari, guys that are going to help you win a lot of games, 2 to 3 year starters. They'll be your guys that speaks for itself, all conference, all league guys. Most of your roster here is going to be in this winnable plus, winnable minus. And if most of your roster is in the winnable plus range, you got a college football playoff roster, folks. Winnable plus, you're winning because of this guy. He's, again, that 2 to 3 year starter, but maybe the cerebral side, the technician side is what pushes him up compared to the elite all league guys. And the winnable minus, I always like to go back to the offensive line. It's a guy that, hey, you're not winning because of him, but he is a part of the supporting cast. Maybe he's your third or fourth receiver. Maybe he's your fourth or fifth best offensive lineman that just kind of does his role, but he's just have some physical measurables that just bring him down. And against elite interior defensive lineman, he gets beat. Somebody like that. This situation, Joey Aguilar, Bear, I'm going to go winnable minus. I don't think Tennessee's going to go win because of Joey. I think once Nico walked out that door, right, wrong, or indifferent, just my opinion, I think the floor of this team dropped about a game. I'm with you. Me and you 100% agree. I think Tennessee has one of the more manageable schedules out of the true playoff contenders in the SEC this year. That's why I'm not totally against it. If they had Oklahoma's schedule, Florida's schedule, we'd be having a different conversation. But I'm with you. I think the schedule here could help them get their feet wet. But again, they're going to be going against an Elijah Robinson defense. Week 1 in Atlanta against Syracuse. They'll throw a lot at him. 2 weeks later in Knoxville, Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann maybe won't throw a lot at him, but they'll throw some different looks he probably hasn't seen in a while just because they'll be young on defense. I don't know, Bear. I think I can't see this guy. I can't see Tennessee winning because of Joey Aguilar. To my point, I think a lot of all the other dominoes are going to have to step up, sit around him. I'm not as – the accuracy is somewhat there. The velocity, just fitting balls into tight windows that you have to in this league. Tennessee fans have continued to see it. Just missing deep balls consistently. In the 2 games I watched, he did that. Was not an overall great passer last year. I mean, what did he finish last year? 55%. Most college teams want you to be in the 65%.
Yeah, but what he finished the year before is the big question too.
What'd you say?
What he finished the year before.
in 23. But I mean,
Yeah.
hell, I'm going off what you. I don't really care what you did.
I think it was like 68%.
63. Yeah, so
Okay.
he's still not to that. That's why I'm 33-10 touchdown interception. I don't know. I just don't think this guy moves the needle that much. I think it's going to be a drop off from what Nico was, especially for. I mean, Nico has a way higher ceiling than this kid. So winnable minus. Not down on it. Not Tennessee's fault. I think it's about as good as you could have done in the situation you were in, the hand you were dealt. I just think last week was a tough spot for you.
So I look at this in this scenario because I don't disagree with you, and there is a winnable category, and that's where I would put Joey Aguilar. But I think that Joey Aguilar can win one more game than what you would get with George McIntyre or Jake Merklinger. So for that reason, I put him at winnable plus because of he can win you one more game than what you previously could. I want him to be a consistent thrower of the football. Don't put the ball in harm's way. Be able to get around 2,900 to 3,200 passing yards, connect with the wide receiver, build that rapport, find your number one option, and consistently move the chains. And that's what I think you can get in a guy like Joey Aguilar. Now, I'm not saying that it's good enough to take you to the college football playoff because if you and I both agree on this, Tennessee's roster is not what it was last year. I disagree with you and think that there is not a wide receiver that can't have that breakout season in the same way that maybe a Jalen Hyatt did. I think it may end up being Travis Smith. I may be getting off the Mike Matthews wagon. I may be starting to buy a little bit more stock in Braylon Staley. But I still look and I say, there are pieces here to where this can be a solid offense. And I just need a facilitator of the ball. I need somebody who is going to build that rapport and keep positivity in the locker room. And the best part is, this is a winnable plus for another reason. What if this ends up pushing Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre to where Josh Heupel feels like any one of them could start and they're not going to have a drop-off? They're going to be in a really good spot and everything is going to continue to trend in that direction. So for me, I'm not betting that Joey Aguilar is going to lead Tennessee to a college football playoff. I'm not betting that Joey Aguilar is going to lead Tennessee to a national championship. But we have seen facilitators of the ball, guys who just put the ball in the right place, win big games. And maybe that's what we're going to get in Joey Aguilar. Maybe we will see him be able to beat up on an Alabama or finally break the streak down the swamp. And they still go 9-3. Any one of those things could happen. And you know what?
If you had a better supporting cast, I would agree. If you walked into Georgia or Alabama's offensive room right now, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, you got three really good receivers right there. You got three starters back on the offensive line, good running back. Yeah, I could see you kind of I could see you walking into that a little bit. I think that's why some people are confident in Ty Simpson, who hadn't played a lot. But sure. I think he's been there. And I think they just have a better overall supporting cast. And again, it's not all Aguilar's fault. I mean, guys can't be dropping footballs on twists and stunts. Guys can't be missing assignments up front on the offensive line. Again, they all are going to have to work in hand with him. So it's not all going to be on him, too. Tennessee's got to be better around him.
But again, that's the thing. And then at the end of the day, this is another big test for, I think, Josh Heupel. Hey, my offense, once again, 9+ wins. We're constantly changing the narrative around Tennessee football. This is a new form that we expect to be in for the long haul. I think it's a very good overall solid move to get a veteran quarterback on a friendly contract that you know that you can trot out there week one, and he probably is just going to set the tone for the season. That's going to set the tone in the locker room. That's going to allow you to feel like that you don't have to rush the progression of Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre. And maybe internally they've already had that conversation and said, we're going to be a 9-win team no matter who starts at quarterback, so why don't we go ahead and not waste a quarterback or ruin his confidence before he has to go out there? So in my opinion, that's a winnable plus scenario for a team like Tennessee.
Well, he's a bridge gap guy. Again, maybe that's why you don't go get the Notre Dame guy where he's a multi-year guy. You'd sign him to a multi-year thing. It'd mess up your role. It'd mess up the room. And honestly, I mean, if they got – I would hope the collective put some buyout in Nico's and they owed them some money back. Because I know Arkansas did with Madden leaving. That where they got some of that money back and they're not having to go spend as much on Aguilar, and you can in these last few days maybe go get some weapons like on the big, but maybe you can go tamper and get someone out of the port to leave their spot,
or get yourself a really good defensive lineman, build up that linebacking core, add in some other pieces.
It's just tough to go get good linemen. That's the problem. Like everybody has most of them locked up, and I'll say that. I mean. Again, I think you'd have a hard time going to get a big-time receiver who's already with a good quarterback because you're kind of like, come on, man, come play with us. It's like, well, who's your quarterback? We don't know yet either, but he sure needs a weapon.
I mean, you got the Syracuse kid, and that might be it. But, again, you look at FanDuel right now. FanDuel is going to be moving that line up from 8.5 to 9.5. So hopefully you went and threw some money down. But if you haven't, don't waste any more time because the wait is over. Baseball season is finally here, and now the number one thing for baseball is to start off your season strong at FanDuel, which is America's number one sportbook. Right now, FanDuel is celebrating the return of the MLB and giving new customers $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So lay down $5, win that bet, you're going to get $250 in bonus bets. From hits to steals to home runs, they got a lineup filled with all of your favorite bets. Or if pitching is more of your thing, FanDuel is deep in the bullpen of bets from strikeouts to shutout innings. So when you place your first bet, it can be on anything. It could be on any line. Could be on any game. Could be on any player. And if it wins, you're going to get $250 in bonus bets. Some of my favorite plays in the next 48 hours. Milwaukee plus 1.5 on the road against Robbie Ray and the San Francisco Giants. I like the Yankees at minus 1.5 tomorrow against the Cleveland Guardians. I also think that for some reason, somehow, we are going to see the Detroit Tigers stay hot against America's number one team, the San Diego Padres. They're going to do diligence with the plus 1.5 over baseball's best team. So whoever it is, whatever you want to bet, just make sure you go visit FanDuel.com/SECU and join in on the action today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Make every moment count with FanDuel, the official sponsor of Major League Baseball. Disclaimer: must be 21 and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino LLC. Non-withdrawable bonus, which have issued with non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms of deposit. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit cpgg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY in New York.